The precinct stank of stale coffee and resignation. Desks piled high with ignored files, paint peeling from corners, and a soft hum of fluorescent lights overhead gave it the feel of a dying animal. Somewhere a clock ticked, but no one listened. Then the front door creaked open. She stepped in. Maya Grant. Black. Late 40s. Calm poised. No badge visible. Just a woman in a dark blouse and jeans, hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. The kind of woman this building had learned to overlook. The front desk. Officer Brian Kessler barely glanced up. Gray at the temples, his guts stretched against a too-tight uniform. His eyes lingered on Maya with the same disdain one give a fly buzzing too close. "What do you want?" he muttered, not bothering to hide the contempt. "I'm here to report a robbery," Maya said, voice steady. Kessler snorted. "Phone? Wallet? Look, lady, that stuff disappears every day. Waste of time. I still want to file a report," she repeated, her tone firmer. Kessler pushed back from his desk with exaggerated annoyance, grabbed his half-full coffee mug, and approached. "You people," he said, voice low, "never know when to quit." Then, in one cruel motion, he flung the hot coffee straight at her face. The liquid struck her cheek with a hiss. Gasps echoed. Someone dropped a pen. No one moved. Maya didn't scream. She staggered slightly, skin burning, but kept her gaze fixed on him, unbroken. "Thank you," she said softly, wiping her face. "Now I understand." She turned and walked away. One followed. In a side corridor, Deputy Chief Samuel Owens waited. Older, black, with eyes that had seen too much. "You all right?" he asked. "I needed that," she replied coldly. "Now I know what I'm dealing with." "You sure you want to go this route?" "Absolutely." Because Maya Grant wasn't just another woman. She was the new chief of police. And Kessler had just made the biggest mistake of his career. She entered her office and closed the door. Her cheeks still burned, but the fire in her chest blazed hotter. The next morning, the precinct's briefing room fell off. Whispers cut short when the door opened. Maya walked in full uniform now, badge gleaming. Her posture spoke of command. The burn was still visible, but it didn't define her. "Good morning," she said. "Let's begin." Some officers sat straighter. Others looked away. "My name is Chief Maya Grant," she announced. "Some of you met me yesterday." A pause. What I witnessed shocked me. "But I thank you for showing me the truth so quickly." She outlined sweeping changes. Community review boards, whistleblower protections, a permanent civilian oversight unit. Every reform landed like a hammer. Kessler sat in the back, fists clenched, rage burning behind his smirk. Afterward, he moved quickly. "She's not from here," he whispered in locker rooms. "She's here to get us." Rumors swirled. Someone leaked Maya's divorce. Old arrests she supervised were questioned in blogs. Headlines darkened. Still, she stood firm. "The louder they yell," she told Owens, "the more afraid they are." But fear fights dirty. One night, long after lights should have dimmed, Kessler met 3 others in the archives room. "No files, no proof," he said. They shredded complaint forms, wiped drives, and deleted body cam footage. They didn't see Chris Meyer in the shadows, that he'd stayed late, the guilt of his silence gnawing at him. When he saw Kessler toss a folder into the shredder, something in him snapped. He backed away quietly, hands shaking. This wasn't just about leadership. It was about survival. Kessler returned to his desk the next morning smug, unaware his time was running out. Chris sat at his desk, staring at the phone. One call could ruin him, or redeem him. Maya stood in her office, watching the city wake through fogged glass. Owen stepped in. "You look tired." "I am. You've made enemies." "I expected them." "And allies." She hesitated. "Maybe." Outside, protesters held up signs. Some called her a liar. Others, a hero. Reporters stalked the precinct. The pressure mounted, but Maya refused to blink. That afternoon, a manila envelope appeared on her desk. No name. Inside, shredded document remnants, printed screenshots, security cam stills, evidence of tampering. She stared at them, silent, eyes narrowing. Then her office phone rang. "Chief Grant," said a voice she recognized instantly. "Chris, I saw what Kessler did. I have more." She exhaled, slow and heavy. "Meet me. 1 hour. Don't bring your badge." Across the precinct, Kessler laughed with 2 officers. The predator still thought he ruled the cage. He didn't know the bars were closing in. Maya stood, smoothed her uniform, and reached for her coat. The hunt was beginning. Chris stumbled upon a dusty, half-forgotten folder buried deep in a filing cabinet no one touched anymore. Inside were photos, account records, and memos. Unmistakable proof of bribes, case tampering, and names. Big names. Kessler's name was all over it. So was Mark Calloway's, a high-ranking city official. His hand shook as he brought the folder to Chief Maya Grant. "I think I found something," he said, pale and breathless. Maya flipped through the pages, her jaw tightening. "This changes everything," she muttered. But they both knew what came next would be war. A silent, deadly war against a system designed to protect itself. And now Chris had painted a target on his back. The precinct's air turned toxic. Whispers faded when Chris entered rooms. Files he'd accessed suddenly went missing. Kessler was watching, and he knew Chris had seen too much. One night, a black sedan idled near Chris's car. A voice barked his name, then the vehicle screeched away, tires screaming in the dark. The message was loud. "Back off." Maya didn't wait. She called in Owens, Chris, and 3 officers she trusted. In her office, she spread the evidence across the table. "This isn't about one crooked cop," Maya said. "This is a network. Kessler, Calloway, and maybe more. We need to take it down, cleanly and publicly." They knew one mistake could cost them everything. So they planned in silence. The day of the press conference, Maya stood behind the podium, cameras clicking like loaded triggers. She held up the folder, her voice steady. "I have served this city with honor," she began. "But today I expose the dishonor within." She laid it all out. Falsified case reports, secret payments, targeted smear campaigns. Proof Calloway had orchestrated a conspiracy to silence her and protect Kessler. Reporters gasped. Questions exploded across the room. Then the double doors slammed open. Kessler entered, grinning like he owned the place. But Maya stood firm. Behind her, an internal affairs agent stepped forward. "Officer Kessler, you are under arrest for bribery, abuse of authority, and obstruction of justice." Kessler's grin collapsed. "This isn't over," he hissed as cuffs clicked shut. "No, Brian," Maya said, eyes locked on his. "This is just the beginning." But victory was short-lived. Calloway struck back through the media. Articles accused Maya of manipulating evidence. Old rumors resurfaced. Outside, protests swelled. Not against corruption, but against her. Her house was vandalized. Death threats filled her inbox. Chris and Owens begged her to step back. But Maya refused. "If I back down now, they win." They investigated further, tracing forged documents and bank transfers. One official, finally cornered, cracked. He admitted Calloway's direct orders. It was enough. When Calloway was arrested, the city convulsed. Supporters rallied. Detractors rioted. But truth had momentum now. Maya stood before another crowd, this time outside City Hall. "We don't need perfect officers. We need honest ones. And we will not be silenced." The precinct changed. Officers who once stayed quiet began speaking up. Community meetings doubled. Oversight increased. Trust, once shattered, began to heal. Still, Maya kept her guard up. Change was slow, fragile, dangerous. One evening, she found Chris alone in the precinct lounge, staring at the wall. "You okay?" she asked. He nodded slowly. "I still hear that engine sometimes. I still wonder if they'll come back." "They might," she said. "But now, they'll face all of us." She paused. "You did the right thing, Chris." He turned to her, eyes filled with guilt and relief. "Did we win?" She shook her head. "We're just getting started." Weeks later, Maya received an anonymous envelope. Inside was a photo of her during her first year as a beat cop, standing beside her late father, a civil rights lawyer who taught her that truth meant nothing if hidden. Beneath it, a note. He'd be proud. Tears welled in her eyes. Not for the battles won, but for the ones ahead. She walked back to her office, where a new folder waited, an internal report on racial bias and arrest patterns. Another storm to face. But Maya smiled. Justice wasn't a destination. It was a fight. A vow, a calling, and she was still answering it.